Fresh off a huge win against defending Pac-12 champion Washington, Arizona State looks to ride the wave into Utah this week and possibly a South Division title with top players like our special guest, running back Demario Richard in tow. Let's find out what Demario thinks about the season so far in Tempe and his next stop in the NFL as we go one-on-one with Demario Richard on the OFN Meeting Room with Greg DePalma. It's October 19th, 2017. I'm Greg DePalma. Thanks for tuning into the OFN Meeting Room as we talk Arizona State football with NFL running back prospect Demario Richard. Demario, thanks for joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, Demario. I'm actually real happy we had an opportunity to talk to you because I know how busy it is. You've got a big game coming up against Utah on Saturday following the huge win against Washington. Was that the biggest game in your career, the biggest win that you had in your career?
It was out of that and my freshman year when we beat Notre Dame. Probably one of those two games.
What kind?
Those two games are probably the most fun games I ever played in. Yeah, probably the two most important games I played in.
I know things have been kind of difficult for you and the team since last year. I mean, you ended the season on a 6-game losing streak. You had to deal with some injuries, leg injury, and then you had the injury to start the season. So you then became, though, since the Texas Tech game in Week 3, the primary ball carrier. We know how talented your fellow running back mate, Kalen Ballage, is, but how did the season really go for you, considering what happened last year and the slow start this year? Were you doubting yourself? Were you doubting the team? How confident were you guys still as a team and you individually that things were going to get better?
I never doubted my teammates. I never doubted them. And, you know, injuries are a part of football, so when you play a physical contact sport like this, injuries will happen, but, eventually you'll get over them. And the slow start is because, I think it's because we had a young team. We're very young. And, Manny is, he's starting to get his feel for the game, as a veteran quarterback. Last year was his first season as literally playing. So, it had to take some games for him to get under his belt, and obviously he's starting to prosper now, and the kill is starting to fall into place. The old line is starting to fall into place. So, the confidence was never the thing, but it's just we had a young team, and we had to get everything, and we had to see what our strengths and weaknesses were before we could fix ourselves. So we found out what that is, and now we got the ship rolling.
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at it, USC hasn't exactly been playing like everybody thought that they were going to play. So there's a legitimate opportunity for you guys, and I'm sure you're well aware of it with USC coming up after Utah. I mean, these are two back-to-back, really the next 4 weeks. I mean, with the teams Colorado defending champs in the division, USC predicted to win the division at the beginning of the season, and Utah and UCLA bookending those teams. This is going to be an incredible 4-week run for you guys and an opportunity to win the division and go on to a Pac-12 championship if you can make it happen. So you guys got to be pretty excited about that chance.
I mean, we just taking it one game at a time. We worried about Utah this week. We're not really worried about SC and Colorado and whoever else we got down the road. We just worried about Utah right now, and we just taking it one game at a time. You just got to focus on what the task at hand is right now.
What are you worried about the most with this Utah team? What have you seen on film? What kind of team you're dealing with here this week?
They're gonna be a physical team. Physical team, disciplined team. I'm not really worried about anything. We just gonna have to come out and play our brand of football and our style of football. And if we do that, we should come out with a W. But I'm not really worried about nothing. They're just a physical and a disciplined team under Coach Whittingham.
What's the biggest difference, say, from 2015? That's when you had a big year, over 1,100 yards rushing. You also had a career high in receptions with 31. What really changed, or what was the difference, if you can pinpoint one specific thing of why things didn't go your way last year? Was it the injuries and anything else, or what's been the difference?
I'd say the difference was mainly the injury. Not the main injury. That was that, and then I wouldn't say I lost confidence, but it was just like I was just trying to hurry up and get through a year. But that's really it, just the injury, and then we had, like I said, we have a young team. You know, most of our veteran guys from that 2015 class ended up leaving. You know, going to the draft or getting picked up by a team or something like that, or they were just seniors. So it was just like, you know, we had a young team, and you know they didn't really have that much game experience, and that's really the big difference from 15. But mainly it was the injury.
What have you worked on since you've been at Arizona State? What is the one thing that you've worked on the most that you want to continue to work on to be a more complete back?
I'm just being a student of the game, you know, just learning more and more about defenses and reading defenses and learning more protections and how to pick stuff up quicker than before. Everything else I kind of came in at task in hand. I was already strong. You know, I got a little burst and everything like that, but you know, that's really it. Just learning more stuff about X's and O's.
Are you very confident as a receiver out of the backfield?
Of course, I feel like I'm the best. Me and the receivers argue all the time who has the better hands on the team. So yeah, I mean, I feel very confident about it.
Yeah, you have 67 career receptions. You had 31 that season in 2015. You've had over 2,000 yards rushing and 14 touchdowns for your career. Now you have 216 so far this year, but again, you missed a couple of games. How is it sharing sharing the load in the backfield with Balaj? I mean, obviously a very talented kid as well. Will also potentially, I mean, both of you guys will be coming out as seniors, but who knows exactly where you're going to go? That's something for later on down the road after the season ends. But how difficult is it for opposing teams to deal with both of you guys in the backfield?
It's difficult, very difficult because you know they can't just load the box up. You know, we both could do something. We both bring something to the table that is hard for a defense to stop. So, you know, a lot of teams would rather just load up the box and think they're gonna beat us like that. But you know, with having us both on the field and spending time how we spend it is just we just I don't know, we just changed the game immaculately.
And what about the new offense under new coordinator Billy Napier? How's that any different from what you've had there before?
Are you talking about from last year's offense or
Yeah. Well, give me the difference overall and how last year's to this year's offense has been for you, if much at all.
this offense? It was way. I feel like this offense is way better than last year's.
Okay.
You know, and it's way better. You know, it's more NFL type offense. You know, so
Okay.
with the terminology and stuff like that, and just my our coach knows how to put people in a position to score. You know, so he's putting a lot of guys in, you know, position to score and make plays in the game. He uses his playmakers to his advantage. He makes teams, you know, frustrated with how many people can make a play on the field. So I mean, you know, I'm loving this offense most definitely.
If you had to go back to when you first broke into college, and you were able to say something to yourself, give yourself some advice, you know, when you were a freshman, what would that advice be? What would be the first thing that would pop into your head that you'd want to say to yourself?
Uh, you know, just stay humble. You know, just not saying that I was cocky or anything, but just stay humble and you know, just keep working. You know, God has a plan for us. I'm blessed. You know, you blessed to be here. You know, because back where I come from, a lot of people don't make it out. So you know, you just blessed to be here. Stay humble, and don't ever forget where you came from. You know, and watch the people you sing with because everybody not your friend.
Who do you like watching on Sundays when you get a chance to watch the NFL game? Anyone in particular? Any particular running backs?
I watch Marshawn. You know, I watch Paul Perkins up there in New York. You know, I watch AP, of course. I've been watching my boy Christian McCaffrey. You know, that's really it. You know, and a lot of guys like that, but mainly Marshawn. I watch a lot of college football. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
so
And who do you like
that's
in
really what.
college? Like as far as players outside
Uh,
that you get an opportunity to watch. If you had the opportunity to watch, you know, one player or one team a week, who would you want to watch?
One, that's kind of hard.
I
I,
know.
I, I running back at my position, I'm watching Rashad Penny. Rashad
Okay.
Penny at San Diego State, or I'm gonna watch Bryce Love at Stanford.
Yeah, they're
You know,
obviously having they're right now. Dan Shonka here at Ourlads has him rated as the top two. Actually, has Penny rated as one of the top two running backs, senior running backs. So what did you like about Penny when you had when you had an opportunity to watch him live and in person earlier this year?
I know him, so it's like
Oh, okay.
I know him, so it's like we from the same, like not the same area, but Southern section. He was Thorold, I went to Palmdale, so we've been keeping up with each other for a minute, but he's a NFL style back, in between the tackles back, he got nice size on him, he got some nice speed on him, he can catch the ball at the backfield, he can make you miss off the space, so that's really my guy right there. So I pay attention to him. He critiques my game just as much as I critique his. So that's really my dog right there. I watch Saquon Barkley too up at Penn State.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's. I mean, it's about time a running back won the Heisman again, don't you think? I know
Yeah,
Henry got one a couple years ago, but running backs don't usually get them. They usually give them to the quarterbacks. So,
yeah.
I mean, Barkley's been fantastic. I mean, that guy has been playing awesome. So who knows? I mean, you guys, you never know. Maybe you'll match up with Penn State. I'm sure there's always a big difference between nowadays whether you want to go to the playoffs or the Rose Bowl, but there's still a Rose Bowl shot for Arizona State. So,
For sure.
is that the dream to go to the Rose Bowl for you guys?
That's the goal. Our goal is to win the Pac-12 championship and go to the Rose Bowl. That's the goal. And we're gonna do whatever we can and keep that goal at stake for us. We just gotta keep on winning from here on out, and we'll see what God puts us.
A couple more things before I let you go, Demario. Talk about the if a recruit out there is listening, what would you tell him? Why you'd want him and advise him to go to Arizona State?
Everything here is family orientated. Everything we do everything together. If one of us don't want to do it, then we're not going to do it. And don't second guess yourself. If this is where you really want to be, then be here. But just don't force somebody. Don't let somebody force you to do something you don't want to do or be somewhere you don't want to be. So I mean, at the end of the day, I tell them like, at the end of the day, even if you're not coming to Arizona State, just be yourself and don't let your parents, your best friend, coach force you to be somewhere you don't want to be. If they pushing you to a school and you don't want to go to that school, you feel like you want to go somewhere else, just take the visit to both schools. And I tell them to take all 5 of their visits.
Yep.
That's where I messed up at. I only took 3 visits. So just take all 5 of your visits and see what every school has for you, and just be humble. And like I said, just be humble and stay true to yourself.
What is it about the program, the university that you like the most of why you're glad you're there?
My university,
Yes.
man, online classes, online classes, the academic help here, online classes.
How about
just being around a lot of people that I not really grew up around, but just being around a lot of people, who want to be somebody in life, not just in football, but and then having the opportunity to meet different type of people, and getting job experience, not job experience, but meeting people who are willing to give you a job after you're done playing football, so stuff like that. Just basically meeting with people and just being yourself, basically. And everybody out here is just they're for you. They're not going to push you to something that you don't want to do. They're going to ask you what you want to do with your life. You tell them they might have some input on you or they can help you. It's just a lot of help here.
So you probably have you've probably played a lot in the warmer weather climates. You ever worry about playing in colder weather climates?
I play my best in my whole football career, I've played my best games when it was cold or when it was raining.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
It's cool, you know.
Okay.
So I don't really let the weather get to me like that. It might be cold, but you know, I eventually warm up sooner or later.
What about Coach Graham? Obviously, anybody out there that wants to know about Coach Graham, what he's like, you've been around him now your whole college career, especially for any recruits that are listening out there. What's the real Coach Graham like?
He's gonna coach you. You know, he's not just one of those coaches who's just gonna sit there and let somebody do whatever they want to do. He's gonna coach you, and he's gonna try to get the best out of you every day, and he's gonna bring it every day to practice. You know, if he see you slacking or like he feel like your energy is down or something, he gonna harp on you like, wake up, like, what are you doing? Let's go to work. You know, and he loves his jobs, he loves his players, and he does whatever he can. He does whatever he can to put his players in the best position to succeed, and that comes on the field and off the field. So, I mean, he's the real deal.
All right, Demario, thanks a lot. Best of luck in the game this week, and we'll be keeping our eyes on you guys all season, and hopefully, I wish you best of luck with your dream of going to the Rose Bowl, and maybe this is the year. Maybe it'll all work out for you.
Thank you.
You got it. Take care. That's Demario Richard, Arizona State, and the Sun Devils off of a big win against Washington. They got Utah coming up this week on the road, and as I mentioned, after that it's USC. But everything is right there for Arizona State. And who would have thought that just a week ago before Washington, sitting at 2-3, 6-game losing streak to end last year. A lot of people wondering what's going on at Arizona State, as well as Arizona, by the way. But all of a sudden, there's some good football happening in the state of Arizona between the Sun Devils and the Wildcats. And who knows, maybe that game at the end of the season between Arizona State and Arizona will be the biggest matchup for those two teams in a very long time. So I want to thank Demario Richards for joining us. And we'll talk some more all season long here on the Ourlads Football Radio Network when we bring in all of the top players from around the country, coaches. Matter of fact, this was our fourth interview today. We had some of the top beat writers in the country from earlier today. Those shows, by the way, those interviews are going to be available on demand. Just go to ourlads.com and you can check out the interviews from earlier today. We had with several writers that we discussed Texas A&M football with Owen Buchanan, UAB football with Steve Irvine, and Fresno State football with Robert Kawada. So we'll talk some more college football tomorrow, Friday at 2:30 Eastern, right here on the Ourlads Football Radio Network. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.